Hi, and welcome to my tutorial on how to make an RSVP MX. The RSVP MX is a pretty popular pen in pen spinning, and yeah, I think it's a pretty good pen. The end result looks something like this. Now this is with my small edits, which is a little Kamsa profile ring and a little bit of a grip to add some weight to balance it out. So yeah, the end result, it can write, which is a bonus, and yeah, it looks like this. Now let me get started with the supplies you'll need. For pen-wise, you'll need a Pentel RSVP, which looks just like this, and it can be fine. It can say fine there, or med, like MED. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter. You'll also need an HGG tip and grip, and you can just get a tip grip set off of Penwish, just like this. You will need, now these are optional, but this is what I do, a profile ring from a Kamsa, and another grip just to add on to the end to balance it out. Now for other supplies, you will need a lighter, a G2 barrel, nail clippers, a small file or screwdriver, doesn't matter, a small roll of paper, which I'll show you how to make later, some sandpaper, some double-sided sticky tape or Teflon tape, and an insert. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so now we will be modding the RSVP cap, and what you'll need for this step is the RSVP, a Pilot G2 barrel, the lighter, sandpaper, the little paper tube, the nail clippers, and that's it. So to start, just take off the RSVP cap, clear some of this stuff, and what you want to do is, see this little clip? We're going to be taking that off. So to do this, you lift it up and push it over, and you basically just bend it around until it gets close to breaking, and then you just break it off. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this part off, or fast forward this part until I get this piece off. Alright, so this piece is almost off. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little twist, and there you go. This piece is off. You can discard it or keep it for whatever you might want it for, but there we go. So now what we have is this really rough end, and we don't really want that. So what we're going to do is sand that off. But to protect the rest of the cap, to make it look nice, we're going to need this little tube. And to make this, you can just take any piece of paper. I'm going to use a sticky note. I'm going to get the sticky side off. And you're going to wrap it around the cap. And then, once it's wrapped, you can take it off and just give a little rip in the center. I'm not taping it because I don't have any tape other than double-sided sticky tape, but you can just give a little rip in the center so that it will go up and around the clip like that. That's a bad one, but as you can see, it'll just go up around the clip, just like that. So, actually before we sand it, we're going to use the nail clippers to just clip the end to give it a nice rounded start, so that it will have like a finished rounded look, which looks nice. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sand this, and fast forward while I'm doing it. Alright, so now we've got a nice rounded end, as you can see there, but it's still got some of this little sanding stuff on it, so just like wipe that off. But as you can, if you just did this, you can feel it's kind of rough, and that isn't very good. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take your lighter and you're going to light or kind of melt the end of the cap, but don't get too close because it'll burn it. So you want to stay a little bit away, and you just want to melt it a little bit, then dunk it in water, and melt it, and then dunk it in water. And this part I'm going to do off camera because I don't want to burn down my house, so I'll be back once I've melted the cap. Alright, so I've now melted the RSVP cap, just like that. And as you can see, it's nice and rounded. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the RSVP grip inside the cap. So go ahead and just take the grip off of the pen, and to do this we're just going to put it in there, and then take the G2 barrel and just put it inside the cap and push it. And if you see that little nub right there, you want to have the end of the grip just a little past that. So, just like that. And later you might want to edit that depending on how your pen works. But so, once you have that in, that is your finished RSVP cap, completely modded, ready to go. Now we're going to work on the barrel of the pen. Alright, so you just finished your cap, and now you're going to mod the barrel of the pen. Now to start, what you're going to need for this step is just your file and the back of the pen, which can just be unscrewed. And the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to reverse the ink tube, like that. But as you can see, that doesn't fit through. So you're going to need to drill a little hole right there. As you can see, I already have a modded one. So you're going to want to drill a hole just so that the ink tube can fit through like that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that fast forwarded. Alright, so I've got a hole in there, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, because you want the ink tube to fit pretty snug inside the back. So you want to have the back pretty, you want to have it pretty exact. Like, you don't want it too big so that it'll like fall out, but you don't want to have it too small, because then it won't fit. So it's you gotta balance it. And yeah, and if you're doing this with a mini screwdriver, just like, I don't know, I've never done it with a screwdriver, I've just heard people do it. So yeah. Alright, so I got it fit in pretty well. As you can see, the tip of the ink cartridge is sticking out, and yeah, so I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit so that it looks nice. Get all the fuzz out from the inside. Alright, so now you have your reversed ink tube. Now, the next step is to put the HGG tip and grip and all of the grips and the other stuff onto here. So, yeah. Alright, so now you're gonna put the HGG tip and grip and all the other grips and everything onto this side of the pen. So what you're gonna need is your HGG tip grip set, your comms ring, your extra grip if you're choosing to use that, and your double-sided sticky tape or Teflon tape. I just find that double-sided sticky tape works better for me. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a little bit of sticky tape or Teflon tape and wrap it around the tip of the pen, just like that. And if there's little stuff sticking out like that, you can just fold it over. Doesn't really matter. Then you just put your HGG tip right on top of that and just screw it in. As you can see, it just screws right on into the tape. And you don't have to use tape, but I find that if I don't use tape, it just comes off. And right now, this doesn't come off too easily. So once you've done that, you want to take your ring, if you're using one, and slide it to the back of the grip area, or whatever you call that was on the original RSVP. And then once you've done that, you just put on the RSVP grip, and bam. If you want to, you can just stop there. That is this side of the pen. But what I do is I put a little bit of another grip on the end. So what I'm going to do is just cut off a little bit. I'm using scissors, but so I'm just going to cut off about that much. Make sure that's a pretty straight cut. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And this you don't need for the rest of the project, but this you're just going to slide over the HGG grip. And just like that. So that is your finished this part, I guess. Oh, it's not a very straight cut, but I'll fix that later. So yeah, that's the finished back side of the pen, I guess. Okay, so now we're going to put the finishing touches on your RSVP. You're almost done. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the parts we've modded so far, the cap, the ink tube, and the base, and you're also going to need an insert if you want to. You don't need an insert, but I think it makes it look a lot better. So what you're going to do with the insert is you want to roll it around the ink tube, but you don't want to fold it because that won't look good. You just want to do a tight roll around the ink tube, and you want it to be pretty close, just like that, I guess. And then you put it into the barrel. Oh, it's not going to want to work for me, but that's alright. So, just going to put it into the barrel, and alright, let me just line it up. And the inserts you want to fit to make 3.5 inches long, because that's how long the barrel of the pen is that you can put the insert in. And once you have that in, all you want to do is wrap it around the ink tube and then stick it in. You just screw over your cap or your back thing, then you just put on your cap, and bam, you have a finished RSVP. And yeah, if you want to see my review on this, it's gonna be right there. And yeah, I think this, yeah, you're done. So bam, you just made an RSVP. So yeah, there you go.